We are joined now by our justice correspondent, Candace Kelley, who joins us now ahead of opening statements this morning. Good morning to you, Candace, once again.
Good morning, Mike.
Finally, Candace, good morning. Finally, we're here. We've waited a long time for this trial to begin. Opening statements beginning, 2.5 weeks of jury selection. Candace, what do you expect this morning?
Listen, what we're going to hear are obviously the narratives that are created, but we did hear from the defense attorney of William Roddy Bryan yesterday, who talked about, let's look at this case as a case of self-defense, number one, and let's look at this citizen's arrest law. So what we're going to hear are defense attorneys talking about this citizen's arrest law, saying that there could not have been equilibrium in terms of what they were doing and what Arbery was doing, because they were the ones who were making this arrest. And that's what happens, that there's an imbalance of power. And so this is what we're going to hear from the defense. The citizen's arrest law that they say gave these three men the right to chase down Ahmaud Arbery on the street. Of course, on the other side, we're going to hear other facts leading to this idea that what was Arbery doing in the first place that would force these men to think that they could run him down. There was no felony involved. Nothing was stolen. What was the issue here? Why was he chased down? It ultimately comes to a matter of race and vigilantes on the street doing what they thought they had the right to do. So that's what we're going to hear in our opening statements.
All right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. It is very exhausting. We've been talking a lot ever since we found out what the jury's racial makeup was, about the 11 white jurors and 1 black juror in this county of 27% black people. What more can you tell us? How do you break it down, Candace?
Well, listen, when it comes to these types of juries, we know that we have the peremptory challenges. People need to pay attention to this case, Batson v. Kentucky. If there was a challenge to be made in terms of the racial makeup, it would be called a Batson case, a Batson type of issue, a challenge rather. And in this situation, you have a jury that might be all black, all white, but race is the issue. They didn't make a Batson challenge. And we also heard the judge say that, yes, there might have been some discriminatory practices here, but he moved on with the trial. That leads me to believe that he thought that all of these people were actually challenged for cause properly and were removed properly. Now, people have an issue, obviously, and I certainly would be one that would be mad if I were the parent. But if you look at studies, even one person, one black person on a jury actually does make a difference in conviction rate, as well as penalty phases when it comes to something like this. So while it is one person, I would say at least there is one. And historically, one person does make a difference. Should there be more in terms of what reflects the community? Yes. And Mike, I'll also add that the state of Arizona has gotten rid of peremptory challenges for this very reason. Thurgood Marshall, when he was sitting on the bench, said, we need to get rid of peremptory challenges for this very reason, because attorneys make decisions based on race. So here we are.
Candace, I want to go deeper into that. You're saying in studies, and I believe with your studies, obviously you're the law background, one black juror makes a difference in a case like this, even if it's 12 jurors on there. Tell me how so, and it doesn't have to be the right black juror. And I think you understand what I'm talking about.
I do. And, someone asked me this yesterday. They said, well, do you need the Angela Davis, fist power?
Yeah.
Because certainly we come in all shapes and sizes. One of the things that the study talks about is just the presence of somebody being in the jury room that makes people step back, reflect, and hold off on saying what they really want to say as they are deliberating. So just the presence does count. Certainly, a more vociferous and vocal person who might be, have a black power sentiment would make a difference. But even just the presence before they open their mouth, the studies have said that it does make a difference.
Yeah, someone who just understands the culture and understands what somebody, maybe what Ahmaud Arbery was going through at those last seconds of his life, to help people who are in that jury pool, the white people who might not feel that sense or get that understanding, help them to understand what that man was going through at that particular motion. I get that situation. Yeah. All right. So one juror, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, we know that these people are from Glenn County, and hopefully they will be of the ilk or the type of person who understands what it means to be in the South because they grew up and lived there. So hopefully we have that person who can reflect exactly what you were saying.
To live in the South and be black in the South, in that neighborhood, in that community as well. We understand. All right, so one juror was replaced. It's a white person. Do we know anything about the new one?
Another white person. It did not change the jury makeup at all. And so we were at the same place. And again, it's something that people should pay attention to in terms of how we choose our juries. And, I have another theory. When Stacey Abrams made her move in order to get people registered to vote, there were 1 million people that were added to the voting records, right? And so out of those 1 million people, who is a potential juror here? Were they new to the process? Because there were a number of people, I'm sure, who were new to the process altogether. And not only do you have to be a savvy attorney, but you have to be a savvy potential jurors. You can't show emotion. You can't say that I can't be open and be a fair and impartial juror. If you've been on the jury before, Mike, and I don't know if you have been, but you know the rules of the game, how to stay and how to give off, how to get off. And if there were emotional jurors, which we did hear emotional jurors saying, I'm decided, I believe that this was a murder, then they were out. But I'm very curious to find out how many people were new to this whole process, being recently registered to vote, because that's where we get our potential jurors. So I think that that's also something to look at. You have to be a savvy juror.
Yeah, long, arduous process. Took 2.5 weeks to get the 64, 65 to break down into the 12 and the 4 alternates as well. But we are finally here. Opening statements beginning today in the trial of the men who killed Ahmaud Arbery. Candace Kelley, good to see you. We'll check back in with you a little bit later on in the show.